Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's album review. We're going to be reviewing Billie Eilish and her extended play, Don't Smile at Me. We also did review or listen to an extra 3 songs that were part of the special edition album. So, Brett, it was you that chose Billie Eilish. So, do you want to go ahead and tell us what you thought?
Yeah, this might be your bite bit for your YouTube video. Uh, this was definitely a bit of me. I definitely didn't enjoy it, so I'll get that out straight away. And it's funny because obviously I was looking back previously. I think apart from Beyonce, we haven't actually really done many female artists. I think even in all the bands we've done, I don't think there's been many female influences in that as well. Again, you might correct me as we go along. Um, so, and you probably knew this already about me, Lee. Obviously, I do have a soft spot for this style of music. Female singers doing it as well. And Billie Eilish impressed me with this. Now, I know this is an EP. I'm going to refer to it as, I'm sure you'll do the same as we're talking about it, as an album, because I think once you include those 3 other bonus tracks, it's pretty much, it might as well be an album. So we know it's an EP, but for argument's sake, talking about it as an album. Once I listened through and I did do a bit of research, I found there was a couple of people she was influenced by, and I want to make clear I've already written my notes before I did any of this research. But I'm going to refer to my good mate Tyler, the Creator, because again, like his album, this felt like a very good album overall the way through. It was definitely above average. What I mean is there wasn't generally any standout song that really blew me away. But at the same time, there definitely wasn't any song on there that I really didn't like. I think it generally was the same throughout. There was a few sort of changes that, as an album to listen to, really enjoyable. I felt maybe it could be a type of album I would only listen in a certain mood, certain scenario. But regardless of all that, I think maybe I'm going to try and be more critical on it, because I know we've had some poor albums we've had on this particular series. But for me, really enjoyed it. Definitely above average. Hard to decide what songs I would take on my playlist. I've definitely put one as my more sort of overall favourite, but really they're generally all on par. I think it's one, like Tyler Creator, to listen to as a whole EP, whole album.
Okay, glad you enjoyed it. So as for me, it wasn't really well. It was kind of what I expected, because I had heard some Billie Eilish stuff before. I wasn't actually quite sure what songs they were, but I knew kind of her style of singing, I think. But I didn't particularly like this album. Maybe it's not even so much the album I didn't like. I just maybe don't really like Billie Eilish's style of singing. I think I can appreciate her style of singing. I think it's quite unique in terms of she's kind of singing in a kind of slowish, sort of high pitched voice kind of way. It's probably quite difficult to do. Definitely a unique way of singing. So I can understand why people would like it. I think for me, there are reasons why I don't particularly like it. I've noted down here, I found it quite dreary. I guess like how it's supposed to be, quite calm, almost like an underwater feel. Like the whole thing feels like you're kind of dreaming, sort of underwater somewhere in another world. And it was easy to listen to. I mean, that's probably the way I describe it. I just think with me, I just need something a little bit more uplifting, something that really gets me going a bit more, which we'll talk about as we go through the album. There is one song on there that I quite liked, and I'll explain why, what the difference was between that song and the other songs. And I think that might give an indication as to the problem with Billie Eilish, for me.
Yeah,
But
and let's say I can't disagree with a lot we've said there. It's good points sort of made there, and again, as things go through each song, it'll probably make sense there. And that's why I said I think you have to be in the right sort of mood and situation for me to really enjoy that. And it does seem very the same in some places. And she is got a very unique singing style, singing voice. I think in times where she can go really quite low and quite slow and dreary, and then yeah, some real sort of high notes there. But yeah, you make some good points as well on your side of things.
yeah, I mean, I would just say as well, based on the series that we've had so far, this is still probably, one of the better ones. But again, that's not really saying much. Okay, so the first song was Copycat. So for me, there was a bit of an annoying background sound going on. I found the song quite sleepy and just a kind of relaxed style of singing, but it wasn't a good start for me.
Yeah, I get that as well. I was trying to think more of the deeper meaning to the song, the title, like sort of copy can stuff. But yeah, it's weird. I did actually listen to this twice through. It's one of the points I made. The first one I was going to say, well, actually, I think maybe be good to sort of. I think it's one you need to maybe listen to a couple of times to maybe appreciate a bit more. And like you, I think at the start wasn't the best start of a track. However, it also definitely wasn't the worst, and it sets the tone for the album as we see as we go way through. But when I listened the second time, it did grow a little bit better. But I suppose by some of them, not the worst song, but also not the best song.
Okay, the second song was I Don't Want to Be You Anymore, all one word. So I put down quite sort of marish, like kind of what's this? Just sleepy, relaxed style of song, but livened up in parts. Again, I think this is kind of maybe sort of the way the album was in general, just her style of singing. It was quite sort of low key. I think that's a good word to use, low key. Doesn't really get going for most of these songs, and I don't know. I just kind of find it a bit boring, really.
Yeah, that's totally great. I've wrote down a couple of other songs about how songs actually just don't get going, and it almost feels like it should do, and you feel like it's going to happen, and then doesn't. But I said that didn't bother me at all, and I said I generally could really enjoy listening to this. As soon as this came on, this is where I referred to the quote like, "This feels like a bit of me. This is a song I think I could really enjoy listening to," and I did quite like it. The reference I saw, it almost found out it could have been like a James Bond theme. It had that same sort of, as you're saying, negative word could be like dreary, slow, all over the place. But otherwise, though, it was, for me, a quite all right song.
We had My Boy. So I broke down unimaginative chorus. I can't remember off the top of my head, but there was something about the chorus just repeating. I think it's My Boy or something. Just a bit, I don't know, seemed a bit not very well thought out. Average song, and struggling to write much for these songs, to be honest. Up to that point, can I just say, up to that, those first three songs for me had some similarities, and I really wasn't kind of digging the album up to that point. Things change next, which we'll talk about in a moment.
Yeah, I get why it could be harder to write. I haven't put a lot here. What I've tried to write here, that it's not a very cliche poppy song, but it felt like it was the closest of trying to be a poppy song. So for me, I could imagine when it came up, I thought this could be, like I said, I know it's an EP and I'd say refer to it as an album, but if this was the album, I can imagine this would have been the song maybe would want to try and release as a chart pop song. It kind of had that trying to have that feel to it, maybe not be as so Billie Eilish like, I guess, but still quite dreary, still.
All right.
Yeah, but for me, still just a good song.
Okay, the next song was Watch. Okay, this was completely different. It's had a really good start. This is okay, this is different. The backing music worked, and it was a much better song. I'm not going to go as far as to say I'm going to download this or put it on my playlist, but I may do once I listen to it again. I'm not sure yet. So yeah, this for me is the best song on the album. Even the following, including the following songs that we're going to talk about as well. And I think the difference for me here, why I like this one, it was the backing, the music at the back. It was some kind of beat going on, and I think that's my biggest criticism of this album, or maybe her style, that there isn't that beat going on to kind of really get you going. And I like the kind of wording. I think it was gonna watch the burn. I don't know. It was a good song, this one, and yeah, much better than the other songs. And you might be thinking, there's another song on the album later on, one of the bonus tracks, that was very similar. We'll talk about what's a different version of the song. We'll talk about that one obviously a little bit later. So yeah, I enjoyed this song.
Yeah, cool. So I was going to make the same link, yeah, with the track a bit later on. And yeah, like you, so this is the first one I sort of put a little tick here. Suddenly then peaks up a little bit. I thought, okay, yeah. And then like you, so reference I'm here, I could really imagine it being, especially nowadays with so many box set TV shows, the type of song that would be on like a TV program to really set the mood or to put emphasis on something. A really enjoyable, nice song. Won't say too much more than that really, but yeah, definitely peaked a little bit more than the previous ones.
Next up, we had Party Favor. So this was folk music. Now, that was Wikipedia told me that. I'm going to ask you in a moment what actually is folk music. Even on Wikipedia, it didn't really make it that clear what folk music really is. But anyway, apart from that, I thought the song was actually okay. Wasn't bad, but there was something lacking for me to really like it. But definitely better than the first three songs. And again, it was softly sung. So maybe my second best song on the album, perhaps, but not quite enough there for me to want to download it.
Yeah. So folk music, I don't know. When I think of that, I generally think very cliche, very very stereotypically, a band from Ireland playing like a little country pub with sort of not banjos. That's like American, but the same equivalent. I don't know what the music instrument would be, but and a bit more sort of in the countryside kind of sort of music, which I definitely got a feel. I also wrote down Lily Allen and Kate Nash. Definitely had that sort of feel to it. Really liked this one. What I also quite liked about it, the start of it, it sounded like she was phoning on someone's voicemail, and you could hear that effect at the start, which we've had lots of different kind of effects and styles and things. We've never had this kind of effect style, and I feel it worked really well. I thought maybe that a little bit different. This to me would make a really good sort of typical album song. So yeah, really like the voicemail effects, a bit more upbeat to it. Just a really nicely played song with music instruments. Yeah, one also really really liked.
You just mentioned some names there, like Lily Allen, and like for that particular song. The name that came to my mind for the album in general, even though I've never really listened to her stuff, would be Norah Jones. Is there any similarities you see between Norah Jones and?
Personally, I wouldn't, but I do get in terms of Norah Jones probably sings also quite slow sounding.
Slowly,
So I think maybe this is just a more sort of modern version of Norah Jones. And I think the difference with what we remember as well, Billie Eilish, is that she's really young. She started writing and producing sort of music for her brother from like the age of 13, 14, which is crazy to think in that regard. I think she's probably only about 17 or 18 now, if that. I'm not sure. And I think maybe like the equivalent could be like Norah Jones, almost like the mother version of that, back maybe early noughties, whilst this is like a real modern young person version of that, I guess.
Yeah. see what you mean. Yeah. Okay. The next song was Bellyache. The way I describe this is me, by the way, not Wikipedia now. Mild electro pop, in my opinion. Not as good as the previous two songs that we just heard, Watch and Party Favor. It was average for me.
Okay. I kind of was going to put this one as my overall favourite, but I say it's hard because generally all the songs I quite enjoyed on par for the same reason. But yeah, when I was listening to it a second time, this stood out a little bit more for me. Again, it might be because there's that electro pop kind of feel to it. And like I said, this is before I'd done any reading up on it, I did start getting a feel of like Tyler Creator kind of vibe from it, which I thought was quite unusual. But it turns out that Billie Eilish is actually a bit of a Tyler the Creator fan.
Really?
She's been quoted saying in Teen Vogue, I'm a huge fan of artists such as Garbage, Tyler the Creator, and Avril Lavigne. So I was really surprised to see that. As I said, I didn't do any research beforehand to see that come up at. And then this particular song was influenced by a Garbage song. And then when I did listen to it again, I could generally see and feel that as well. But I'd already put that as one of my favorites even before that even happened there.
But it's quite interesting how we listen to these different artists, and then you find out some links between them, how they're influenced by each other, isn't it? How it is.
Yeah. And again, I know a lot of some of the stuff is taken from Wikipedia, and sometimes you've got to take that with a pinch of salt. Might not always be as it is. It's always linked with Teen Vogue magazine, which I looked into, and it was said there, and yeah, it was quite interesting.
Okay. Then we had Ocean Eyes. So straight away, I realized that I know this song. I know my wife likes this song. I don't particularly like it. I just find it quite boring. Just sort of typical Billie Eilish style. Again, it never really gets going. It is nice. I understand why people would like it. You know, she gets to some like the voice is good. You know, the way she sings it, but it just doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, actually, I agree. So it's a song I did know as well. Liked it beforehand, still like it now. It's weird. I do get what you're saying, and I can see why people like it. And it is a very Billie Eilish song. And if you want to sum up of the album, it's probably listen to, if you know that song, this is what the album kind of feels like. They're good, nice songs. Feel like they could go somewhere, but they don't. But then, for me personally, it doesn't make it a bad song. It's just, I think if you maybe because of maybe your expectation, you're hoping for that to happen, and when it doesn't happen, it's a bit boring, a bit. Because the other good thing is these songs are quite short as well, so they're not like they're 6, 7, 8 minutes of the same sort of thing. But I suppose when you listen to the album, because it flows so well, almost feels like it's doing that. And yeah, so it's just a nice sort of relaxing song. I like it. I mean, it's probably just the average song on the album. I see what other people do like it. So it's well, and it does sum up what the album EP is generally like.
Okay. So next we had Hostage. So this was the last song on the EP, on the normal version, standard version. So yeah, I just put down, is this song going to get started? That was at the beginning because I was waiting. I was like, is it going to get started? And it kind of slightly did, but only very slightly. I just felt like I need more energy from a song. I need it to get going. I don't know, a beat, you know? And that's probably the whole kind of biggest sort of issue I have with this album, this sort of style. It just doesn't really get going. Probably with the exception of that Watch song. But yeah, we'll talk more about the bonus tracks in a moment.
Yeah. Like I said, it's hard because I think again, if you had an album with an array of different mixture of songs and you had something on here, it'd be quite enjoyable. I said because you've already listened to quite similar things, yeah, and because even I just said before, the songs are quite short. This was probably the longer one of the songs, and it's the one with the most simplest voices, simplest background music, everything really, really simple, really nice, really good, but just at the simplest form and just again doesn't go anywhere. So that's why it probably feels judgment. Again, I personally liked it. Again, I've written links I could see in like TV adverts or TV show. But my criticism was that, yeah, just doesn't go anywhere with it, and it could be a bit shorter. That's me being quite critical on it.
Okay. So we move on to the bonus tracks now. The first one is And Burn. This one's really interesting because it came on. I was like, hang on, this is familiar. Sure, I listened to something like this on earlier on. And then I realized it was the song Watch, the one that I like the best. I was like, okay, now I know there's a rapper that's going to be involved in this. So I'm thinking, okay, this could be really my cup of tea because I like a singer, often a female singer, doesn't have to be, but a singer, and then when a rapper comes in. So anyway, like I said, I realized it was an alternative version of Watch, thanks to Wikipedia. I just felt there's a few reasons why I didn't like this song as much as Watch. Firstly, I don't think rap and Billie Eilish mix based on her style of singing. It's weird. It just, I don't know. It was like she was singing in that kind of soft way, whatever, and then she stopped, and then this rapper comes on, and I just didn't see like the link between the two. It was like too extreme for me. But I also think the biggest reason why I didn't like this song as much, because I was listening to it and I was like, no, this one doesn't sound as good as Watch, even though it's very, very, very similar, just a slightly different version of it. After this song, I went back to Watch, and I understood why I like Watch more. It was the backing music. There was more of a beat going on, whereas with this one and Burn, there wasn't. And I think that was the issue there for me, rather than the rapping part. Although, like I said, the rapping for me just seemed a bit weird. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty good sort of sum up there, complete there. Um, what I found is like from the previous song, that hostage song, which again, it almost like it merges, almost like it's been influenced from that previous song. So the Watch song from earlier, you're right, it does have a bit more of a beat. It does have something a bit more to it, which made it a bit more interesting. Again, I still like this song. Take it for what it is, but yeah, it felt like it almost it still had that sort of two very drabby bit and just, but still very, very nice. And I didn't mind the rap bit in it, made a difference, but I totally get what you're saying. And it was almost like we're calling it like the rap bit, but it wasn't even really like a maybe like real traditional rap bit as well. It's almost like Vince himself also had to do it a bit slower and was a bit more like I think you could hear the words he was saying. It was quite clear. It was almost like it wasn't like rap, if that makes sense. But like I said, I did like it as part of the song, and I think maybe, and I've finished it as I saying, if someone could take both those almost together somehow, it might make it a more sort of complete song in a way.
Okay. So then we had Lovely, I think that was featuring Khalid. And again, I instantly knew this song. I wasn't expecting to know it, but I did. And I've never particularly liked this song, to be honest. I don't know particularly well, but I heard it before a number of times, like on the radio or whatever. So I felt that the song sort of builds up, which is good, but then the main part, the most important part, it just dies down instead of climaxing. I don't like that. You know, you got the build up and you're expecting it to sort of be a really kind of really get going at the main part, but the main part completely dies down. That's just what I didn't like it. I don't know if you know what I mean by that, but hard to explain.
Yeah, I do because I've listened to it and I totally get it. It's one of the sort of points I've put here. So if I had to be really critical about a song, it just doesn't go anywhere. But I said I still quite like the song. I actually didn't know the song before. And I said it seems to have like good lyrics, good sounds, good background music, everything really. Keep using the word nice. I think that's the best way I can sort of explain it. Really, all really, really nice. Can't not like it because there's nothing wrong with it, except for it just doesn't sort of go anywhere with it. And I said if you're in the right mood, right scenario, it's just nice to listen to.
Okay, the last song, Bitches Broken Hearts. So I don't know, it was almost like there was something wrong with Spotify or something. There was like sounds going on in the middle, sort of like people at a dinner event. Did you? I don't know if you heard this as well.
I did mine through YouTube in the end.
Yeah, but did you have these weird sounds going on in the middle?
I don't. Well, I don't. If I did, I don't remember writing that down. But I did put this down as sort of the experimental song. So maybe there was stuff going on
Yeah.
that I didn't notice or must have.
So yeah, I was listening to it, and then every sort of few seconds there'd be like a little pause, and there'd be like some kind of like chinking of glasses kind of thing, or I don't know, like. And
Oh
some,
no, you're right. There was, yes,
yeah.
I did get that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, "What's this?" It was weird. It was kind of interrupted by these kind of what sounded like people at a dinner party or something. I was like, is this right? Or has this been recorded not in the correct way or something? I just didn't get it. I found the song low key, somber as usual, and just didn't do anything for me.
Yeah. No, the only reason I remember saying it because one of the lines I've written here now was again I imagine feeling like being in a cocktail bar, or being in the bar having some background, and I think that's where that influence was from there really. Again, like I said before, felt like this could have been the experimental song of if this was sort of the album. Um, Again, nothing overly really wrong with it. Nice. I've also put there's a really nice sort of piano bit to it, which was quite good. Um, Felt like it could have been a good end to a particular album. Yeah, not much more than that really to say.
Yeah, it's okay. So we're gonna sum up the album. For me, it was just not enough going on. It was just a bit downbeat, a bit somber. But it was easy to listen to, so it's not like I hated it. There's not much to hate about it. I just didn't really like it as an album overall. But yeah, like you say, there may be a sort of time and a place to listen to this sort of stuff. It's probably not the best music to kind of be reviewing. I know we say that quite a lot with a lot of these albums. But you may just kind of need to listen to this if you're just kind of chilling out or something and not kind of focusing on worrying about every part of the song when you're reviewing it. But I don't know. I just like more kind of a little bit upbeat music with a bit more of a chorus, a bit more of a backing music going on. That's why it didn't really do it for me.
Yeah, and for me, as I said at the start, I did really like this album. Definitely put it above average. Said songs all generally on par, all quite similar. I generally didn't mind, they didn't sort of go anywhere because I was quite happy to list down as to I could get sort of what mood or thing needs to be in there. But so the criticism would be that it feel even if there's a couple of songs that could be that sort of bit different. And I'm not saying Billie needs to change her style, what she needs to do, but I think you just need that little bit to maybe press you a little bit more, make it that little bit different. But for me, yeah, I would definitely be happily to listen to it again. And as you said then, I would say it's hard not to like this album. It may not be your favorite thing, come to be, it's hard to hate it.
Okay, just a quick question for you. So I know that recently you bought the Tyler Creator album, that you physically bought it. Are we going to see the same thing with this album?
Oh,
If the opportunity arises, you get a good price.
can't. I don't know. I don't think so. But you can never say never with me. But I don't think in the same level I would. That after listening to it, I was like, wow, I really would want to have my own copy of this.
Okay. So thank you for watching. Join us again on Wednesday for the next album that we're going to be choosing, which I'm going to be picking. So it's probably going to be something like, I don't know, Libyan music or Pakistani or something. Who knows? It could be anything. Could be absolutely anything based on what we normally get. So thanks for watching, guys. See you soon.